Photography is the truth. Cinema is the truth 24 times per second. Hello and welcome in this episode of Tafkir where we're going to discuss politics and dystopian cinema. Dystopia is a fictional portrayal of a society in which evil or negative social and political development has the upper hand, or as a satire of utopian aspirations, which attempts to show up their fallacies. Composed from the ancient Greek prefix dys, meaning bad or ill, and topia, which comes from the Greek word topos, meaning place. However, ironically, the utopia, no place, and its close cousin, utopia, good place, share the same pronunciation in English language, which gave birth to the new pronunciation and spelling of the word. Or as described by B.F. Skinner, ways of life we must be sure to avoid. Very famous first dystopian works include books like George Orwell's 1984 or Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, works that talk about futuristic societies that we might reach. Dystopian cinema is a subgenre of science fiction. Dystopian stories feature a world that typically has an oppressive government or religion that dehumanizes its citizens. Yet, the dystopia differ from traditional science fiction by its emphasis on political and social systems rather than science or technology, which allows filmmakers to speculate widely on the political future. Dystopian films have strong elements of propaganda in them due to their predictive quality. Predictive quality refers to the ability of films to speak about the future using evidence from the present. It can be on issues like the environment, problems in society, political discourse, individualistic society, destroyed societies. The social conditions and relations depicted within these dystopian fictions appear to be an exacerbation or extrapolation of our present socio-political norms, values, and conditions. Examples of dystopian movies that will be discussed in these presentations are The Hunger Games, The Purge, and The Joker. The particularity of these movies is their political inclination and the way they portray a political situation are problematic. The Hunger Games, released in 2012, is an on-screen adaptation of a dystopian post-apocalyptic trilogy of the same title. Released from 2008 to 2010, the movies represent a depiction of a society living under an extreme class system division, as we witness an absurd detachment from the upper classes. The movie puts light on topics like conformity, oppression, inequality of distribution of resources, the relationship between man and nature, overconsumption, the attitude toward violence, and most importantly, the way power can be used to dominate large groups of masses. The Hunger Games illustrates this through the district system, which is a form of class discrimination. This goes so far to reveal an outrageous attitude among the inhabitants of the capital, the way they observe tributes from the districts in the most dehumanizing manner. Exposing the preposterous gap that the system has created, the residents of the capital tend to look down on the people from the districts as a type of curiosity and a second-class citizens. The Purge, released in 2016, is a futuristic dystopian horror film that presents a society in the near future where one day a year, for 12 hours, all sorts of criminal activities are legalized. Except for top government officials, anybody can be killed, raped, stolen, or even mutilated. One cannot call the police or go to a hospital. In other words, chaos with absolutely no notion of morality or civilized society. The Purge demonstrates how American citizens have become inherently violent through a hypothetical all-permitted crime celebration day. The Purge addresses deeper and more pressing issues, ranging from deeply rooted entitlement of the privileged classes to the remnant of neoliberalism and, most importantly, the growing cultural violence. It shows that, through the drive to homicidal violence, it makes an accepted breaking of the taboo of killing. Furthermore, it exemplifies the deep crisis of liberal leftist politics today in America. The Joker, released in 2019, tells the story of a mentally troubled stand-up comedian as he embarks on a downward spiral that leads to the creation of an iconic villain. Joker provides an intense and moving backstory of the development of the popular DC comic book villain, Arthur Fleck. This movie treats very substantial themes, mainly mental health, the effect that society might have on individuals' well-being, and how political situation can influence the type of people society deems as heroes. The Joker is rather an example of what the neoliberal society is breeding, a living manifestation of the failure of the system towards its citizens. They do not care about the poor or even their health. Individuals simply become inhuman and callous as a result of an economic system that turns them into cogs in a huge machine. The hierarchy finds support through everyone clinging to their job under conditions of insecurity, suffering, and stress. We've reached the end of this episode of Tafkir Dope. Thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. See you next time.